I'll pick up where I started. This loading this bowl in honor of Nikolai Gogol and Thomas De Quincey. I'll start where I left off. Roast in boasting braggadocio, moxied with Saundra's hothouse breath, the monstrous exhalations of her body in exotic bluster, mustering all the inexorable power, latent in torso, ever gusty, with mighty storm exhausting itself in pelting rain, only to exist in exquisite micro miniaturization on the beleaguered air in some rare little spot unnoticed, some stairway stricken with dry light, stirred with a boredom eventuating into lunacy, the rune-stoned earth birthing the soundless sonic blast of the call note booming over the abyss. And yet here as this tiny drama unfurls, a storm so enormous, born again here in this little crevice, dug into the complexity of the exotic intricacies of the invalid earth, birthing and is twirling this burly thing called existence immaculate. This insistence of Saundra's nature, persistent in its cavalcades of rain and sun, and in meteorological fun and running jokes with the blokes wandering kalpa expanses of space and endless time out in the cosmos, the stars beyond the superluminal yards of far-flung bodies in hot popping blister, the sister of which is right before my eyes, this dusk which always seems to exist here right before my eyes, this dusk which seems to exist here, intermittent with days of frightful limpidity and nights brief, exotic, the cactus in nefarious gleam with a droplet of moonlight on the tips of its needles and the tantruming shadows and the beetles scurrying with bright blue starlight illuminating their backs in the fury of Saundra in delicate repose, as when the feeling comes over her, she blows a sudden gust from parts unknown, just to stir for a moment the stillborn dusk, fructifying corpuscles of muscular firmament, low to the ground, forming a perfectly silent all around, save this wild wind that comes with a suddenness that surprises, only to return to the solemn ecstasy of so much complexity of silence and blither and shout, as if with its curious mouth soundlessness intones a language composed of moaning syllables that oscillate the bones, making them cry out in plangent ecstasy to their uncles the stones, glowing in Stygian twilight in opulent shadow and existential enterprise, at this high point in a day suffused with light's ontological interplay, Saundra, forever blowing and then growing still, the quill of her frantic writing, in which a dusk in all its appalling existence is the papyrus on which she inscribes her lunatic fury, races without motion over the emulsion produced of a sky hemorrhaging the invisible stuff combustible in its living viscera. The clouds overhead, great leaden barges heavy with commerce and cargo, possess in their least semblance a resemblance to this woman, Saundra, who I've never seen, but who knows how, is this thing called the weather, its personality, the reality of its raging and silent spirit in which fury and stillness exist betwixt the ears of this girl who twirls the world itself whenever she feels like it, the blights she unleashes and the frights she causes when the terrific ferocity she reaches deep down into herself and unleashes such a magma of churning air wet with blue electricity in the felicity of her jocular anger, as if the doppelganger of the weather preferred empty skies without a breath of wind, mincing words, the stone birds of skies in high enterprise with the mind of man flapping their wings of singing concrete, the bleak skies that appear sometimes over this high desert of mountainous crag and cactus in stark abundance like skeletons absconded from the skin of some homo sapien never before seen. These skies, these horizons, these clouds of infernal tantrum latent, of infernal tantrum patient on a landscape cowering beneath it, not in fear, But in sexual surrender, the great orb of the sky, when it is turned on such days, surges with great power over the hour of the afternoon when Saundra's sudden angry gloom settles in over a town mounded to the skies with booze and chicanery. Each square, all 44, the incomparable replica of the ones around it, splitting into idiosyncrasies of style and drink, the swishing sink of the world condensed into this trance-like existence in this town beneath Saundra's girlish and letting flow the liquid substance of her body, fantastical in its emasculating force, remorseless in regards to a dawn castrated by night's last aghast blade, rising and falling in hypnotic back and forth in pendulum swing until the knife finds the hide of morning's suckling innocence, and in one slashing motion, the falchion it wields being the steel that cuts feelings in two, circumcises dawn in chastity and holiness. This handling of chalices invisible on the shockwave air, forming a ritual staged according to the grand cycles of moon and universe. The girth, the savage weight of my love for Saundra inviolate, the only woman ever adored, in roar, in soar, in cloudy profusion, or hot with great scoops of feverish air thrown here and there all day long. The song of her diphthong diatribe, heady stuff for ruffians, rugged beneath high sun's white rays, sounding silently over a town situated amongst mountains of such remoteness that it seems that no human feet ever tread that ground, and no human mind besides mine ever heard that sound of hills swallowing inconceivable pills, causing a species of intoxication, like a feces fed that makes great bombs go off in the head about the nature of this and that, until one becomes very matter of fact about such things. I'll stop here and make another one.